Are you tired of struggling and even dealing with hours of coding for your data transformation and analytics? Well, I have some good news for you because as of now, there is a way that you can have your data analytics and transformation code developed without you writing the code. Then let's say goodbye to coding headaches and say hello to no code solution for data analytics and transformation. Then let's go. Hello everyone, I hope you're doing great and welcome to another MG video which we're going to talk about a library called Bamboolib, which is now well integrated with Databricks that will allow you to skip the coding that you need to do for your data transformation and analytics. You might have been copy and pasting some specific synthetic Python coding language that you might don't remember, so you would like to copy and paste the filtration code, filtering some rows and columns, any sort of initial and well-known data exploration, and you might have asked yourself that why should I code all the time all these components again and again? So now with Bamboolib in Databricks, you can just with clicks, with no code, start your initial data exploration and data analytics. And the good news is on backend, it will generate the Python code behind that no-code solution that you're developing. So still you can have the code generated automatically with the Bamboolib for yourself, and you can further extend it for complex querying and analytics. Well, let's check it out. Before we start, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon so you will get notified for the next video. Thank you. Alright, since we are going to talk about Bamboolib, which is here a Python library, it has been developed by data scientists to sort of provide you a no-code solution for a very generic sort of initial data transformation you do for your data science journey or even data engineering, right? For example, I talked about filtering some rows or dropping some columns, doing some merging, contaminating, changing the types of different columns, sorting. All these variety of different data transformation now can be done without you coding them. So what is Bamboolib? Is it a free Python library that you can use it anywhere? Well, there are two sort of versions of Bamboolib library. The previous one, which is the community edition, which is mainly for students, academic institutions, and sort of if you're using it to play with as a hobby, then there's a free version you can get a start. But the caveat is there's no plugin. That means, what is plugin? Plugin means when you want to sort of do a transformation that Bamboolib doesn't have it, so you have to code it. So what you can do, you can code it and then define it as a plugin in Bamboolib. So next time when you want to do that specific transformation that you have developed, you don't need to recode it again, right? Because you have defined it in Bamboolib. So that doesn't support with free version. There's no user support and of course some just specific environments that this edition gonna work with. But with Bamboolib Pro for business, which you have to pay, it comes with all these solution for these caveats, let's say unlimited plugins. And recently what happened, Bamboolib was developed by 8080 Lab, and 8080 Lab got acquired by Databricks. That means now for business you can use Bamboolib Pro if you have Databricks, so you can access Bamboolib Pro from Databricks. This is what we are actually going to do. So you can still sort of install Bamboolib in different environments for the free version, but we're gonna go with for business with the pro version that is already accessible in Databricks and well integrated with Databricks because 880 Lab, this company, got acquired purchased by Databricks. So let's go to Databricks. What you need to do, obviously you need to have Databricks cluster get installed. I think you need to have Databricks runtime above 10 or 11 to have Bamboolib get it work. So I'm using the runtime 12. Let's go to my notebook, and what you need to do first, installing Bamboolib. So just simply you say pip install Bamboolib. Let's execute. I think I already installed this, so yes, it is already installed. Perfect. Now as soon as this library is installed, whether through notebook or you can actually install it through your Databricks cluster, what you need to do is importing Bamboolib and have the widget visualize. So you say import Bamboolib as, let's say, Bam. Okay, there you go. And now if I just write down Bam, you will see Bamboolib will be visualized here for me. There you go. So the first thing is asking me, okay, let's read your data. So the options you can write down, previous you have to write down your code of reading data from Databricks file system, reading data from a Parquet file or CSV, loading a database table from Databricks, or loading a dummy data. So all these four options is now provided for you without you coding them. So if you have a CSV in your Databricks file system, you can just easily click on read CSV, and there you go. It has access to your Databricks file system. You're just selecting, and that's it. Or here, I want to use, let's say, a dummy data. So what I'm going to do, I will select load dummy data, and Bamboolib comes with some pretty open source well-known data sets like Titanic. Let's go with sales data set. I think that data is about it. This is a time series data that talks about the monthly sales for specific products. Okay, that's just a test dummy data set. And what I want to call it, I want to call it DF or data frame. Execute. There you go. So I have the data ready for me, loaded to the memory of my cluster, but I didn't code it. So remember, if you wanted to code, you had to import pandas as PD and then pd.read.csv and then the path to that CSV file, or here from Bamboolib open source data set. So instead of coding, it got generated by itself. But nice thing here is it will give you the code as well. So you can just copy the code, paste it here, and further sort of make it more complex for any specific transformation you want to do. Okay, so before going further, let's investigate what else we can do with Bamboolib. We just loaded the data, right? Well, let's check out the actions you can do without coding. Search actions, there you go. You can drop columns, filter row, sort them, group them, join, change column data types. A lot of pretty well-known transformation that you do in data science, right? You can even replace null values, check out encoding actually categorical values, one of the featureization steps that you do when you have categorical features for training your models. Cumulative product, cumulative sum, splitting the text, converting to lowercase, uppercase. I think in general it supports around 50 different transformations, right? Okay, let's try one of them actually. Let's say I want to sort my data frame, right? There you go. So here it will generate a new window for me based on the type of the action I selected, which here is sorting. So they're asking me based on which column I'm gonna sort. Let's say I want to sort based on the country in alphabetical manner, ascending from A to Z, and then the new data frame called DF2 as an example. Let's execute this. There you go. Now I can see the country started with A, Afghanistan, and here you can see the code got generated. The second step was sorting, and namely to DF2, and I'm sorting values based on country. So you can still do much more transformation. Now I can even filter my rows as an example. Let's say I want to select rows based on whatever the let's call it let's go with maybe country that contains, or start with actually, alphabet A. Let me see if that kind of works or not. Let's call it DF3. Interesting. There you go. Now I have the countries that they just start with alphabet A: Afghanistan, Albania, and there you go, Angola. Perfect. So what else we can do? Okay, let's check out. Can I plot this? Yes. Do I need to code? No. Let's say create a plot. I want to go with histogram plot, and I want to see the x-axis, which is each country. Okay, so for each country I want to see the count that I have for the records of each country, but I gotta see the, let's say, the sales type for each country. Okay, let's add the y-axis, and the y-axis gonna be sales channel as an example. Let's see what we can have here. Okay, let me check. I think based on the countries that I have developed, it doesn't show the sales channel. Maybe let's change it to item type. It doesn't show it. Maybe it's too much. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's choose color first and then sales channel again. There you go. Okay. So I had to choose the color first to sort of tell how I want to showcase different sales channels for each country. Okay, here based on the color. So you can see I have online sales and offline sales, and I can see for the countries that I filtered, they have all alphabet starting with A. For example, almost as you can see, Azerbaijan has half online and offline. The majority of Angola comes from offline sales versus online. So you can have a quick overview based on this histogram plot or any different plot you can specify here and show code. There you go. It can even give you the code. It is using plotly histogram. I want to see the country based on the sales channel which showcase as a color. Perfect. So let me close plot and see what else we can do. So we just quickly check the plot option here, and of course I want to explore this data. I have done my transformation. I can understand this data frame better without again coding. So let's explore this. I click on explore. In a quick glimpse I can see that it shows all the columns of my data frame. What are these different type of each column, how many unique values I have, let's say for region, and how many missing values I have. So luckily I have no missing values for any of these columns. You can even filter which columns you're going to see here. Here I'm just showing all columns. Predictive patterns. This is actually a cool one. So let's select a column, let's say region. So here it's going to tell me that how any of these columns are predictive based on other columns. Let's say how each region is predictable based on the country value, based on the sales channel value. So there's something called predictive power score, or PPS. It is a value usually from 0 to 1. If, for example, the PPS score for region based on country is 1, that means region is very predictable with having country as an input. So this is a sort of a very great actual information that you can sort of have from a specific data frame to understand. For example, here region versus country. So I can see, of course, region is very predictable based on region. That's why it is very red. Of course, with having the same input and output, these are predictable, have a higher PPS score. But how country can be sort of predictable by region, actually that's a good score. It has 93%. So that means these sort of features or inputs, they have high predictability based on each other. Or you can go with correlation matrix. That's a very well-known sort of matrix that a data scientist might use. So you can see the correlation between units sold versus the total cost as an example. So the higher, the darker blue, the more correlation. Again, I didn't code it at all, and in with just a quick look I was able to sort of detect this right. Even when I click on, let's say, glimpse, if you want to do these sort of understandings just for one specific column, then select that column here when you come in glimpse. Let's say I want to do with total cost. And there you go. For total cost, I can even have more overview of that specific column. Let's say here's a histogram. I can change the bean sizes, the mean, median, the first quantile, third quantile, standard deviation, so on and so forth. I can go for the categorical overview if I have it. The bivariate plots, you can sort of even change it based on any specific two inputs. Let's say column B versus column A, or column A versus column B, and you can sort of see the plot here and change those A and B values here. Predictors, the same concept I talked about. You can see, for example, how much total cost is predictable based on total revenue, based on total profit, based on different columns, and you can see the PPS scores just beside them. You can see the details, which is awesome. Quite honest, I haven't got a chance to go through all these details, but I'm just providing you a walkthrough for PPS for each specific column, how much of values you can get out of it without any coding. So let me close all these extra tabs and going back to the data. So we checked out the plots, now we explored the data, and now we also saw that it generates the codes for us as well. Since Bamboolib now it's pretty integrated and got acquired by Databricks, we can even give feedback. So for example, when I go to the actions, and if you don't see the actions you're looking for here, the last one is, you didn't found what you're looking for, let us know. So I click on it, there you go. You can just say Bamboolib feedback at Databricks to tell any potential feedback that you have here. So I think, yes, that's it. This is what I wanted to cover for Bamboolib. Take a look, play around with. I think that can really save your time for very generic initial transformation that you always do for your data science, data engineering workload. And you can quickly explore your data set and understand your data frame with this exploration option here. Hope you enjoyed the video, and write down on the comment section any specific feedback you have, any questions about this, or any comments for another topic that you want to see in the next video. I highly appreciate it. One of the biggest thrusts of success is a strong list of whys. So write down your why for any potential plan that you have in your life, as the how part is easy, but the why part should be strong. Make big goals, my friend, as without visions, we are nothing. Take care, and we'll see you shortly in the next video.